One of the reasons that I love working with notes is they're not cyclical like dealing with Airbnb units. So many people over the past couple of years have jumped on that Airbnb wagon as it's the great way to make infinite cash flow and you're going to be a quadrillionaire if you just go buy an Airbnb. And because it became so popular, that market got hyper saturated and it's been extremely competitive. And so many of my friends that are big Airbnb people are having a hard time making ends meet, covering the mortgage, covering all their expenses. I have some friends that have even moved into their Airbnbs because the loan had to be paid. There are a lot of problems with Airbnbs that you don't have in dealing with mortgage notes. Some of them we're going to go over today are pretty simple and obvious, but some of them really aren't as obvious and are coming into play. One of the things I don't like is that it's easy for a county or a city to just change the law and start to charge you a occupancy tax or an expense, the same thing they do a hotel for your Airbnb unit. Some counties in Texas have even outlawed Airbnbs inside of single family homes that are zoned purely residential. It's rather risky in the city to go get an Airbnb because with the stroke of a pen, they can completely change and destroy your cash flow. With a note, you don't have that problem. Now, some Airbnbs are phenomenal and they can work really well if you can find a niche, exploit it, and be sure to get consistent ongoing occupants and visitors to your property. If you're out in the country and you've got something to lure them, or you're by a major sporting event, or you're on a lake where you're going to get tourists, somewhere where you've got a niche and a way to drive traffic. If you just have an Airbnb in a major city, like all the others that are out there, you're just white noise and you're no different than the house right next door that is also an Airbnb. So the only way to drive traffic is to lower your price. Then before you know it, you can't pay the mortgage. There are many reasons why a lot of counties and areas are outlawing Airbnbs. Realtors have actually started some lobbying and legislation against them because it drives up the price of homes. Historically, it's driven up the price of homes because the investor can pay more for the property if they can still cash flow on it. And so they pay more, drives up the average neighborhood price, and therefore makes the average homeowner not able to afford to live in that neighborhood. So a lot of realtors and lobbyists are really striking against the short-term rental market. Not only is that working against you, but let's look at some data. Here we're going to have an Airbnb inventory versus home sales that we're going to go over. Here we're looking at some data that was pulled from alltherooms.com that aggregates from Airbnb, VRBO, and kind of looks at rooms that are available. You can see the constant, consistent growth in the number of Airbnb units, again, leading to a saturated market, making it harder and harder for your Airbnb to stand out and to get that all-important traffic to come rent and stay in your property. The more competition you have, the less you're going to get a full occupancy, which makes the cash flow harder and affording that mortgage payment. You can see even here that vacancies are surging on properties all across the area. One of the areas hit the hardest is in Central Texas, where revenue is down almost 50% in cities like Austin. It's on par with Phoenix and some of the other areas. So many properties have become on the market that the people are just not staying enough at each unit to keep the prices high. It's another reason that Airbnb is a fluctuating industry. Mortgage notes don't have that problem. People pay their mortgage because they want to stay in their home. I talk about this because we do love notes and we love getting the cash flow that's consistent, reliable, and steady. It doesn't have the flash, the ooh, the ah of an Airbnb, but you don't have to worry about a lot of the risks and concerns that you do with a market that fluctuates and changes constantly. Now, the Airbnb person that's had the property for 5 years or more, they've not only refined all their processes, got it down to a science, and they've really perfected the process. They've also built up equity. They've also got a lower interest rate. They also bought at a lower price. Those people are probably okay. It's the newer person or those that are considering entering it that I am most concerned about, and I think they're gonna have a hard time making ends meet. Again, every property is unique. You've probably heard location matters in real estate, so you can't be generic and say everywhere they're bad. That wouldn't be fair. But you've got to keep in mind a low occupancy's potential that could really make it tough to afford that mortgage. Love talking about real estate. Tell me how I'm right, I'm wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's go over it. Let's chat. Make some comments. Send me a message. I hope to connect. Thanks. If you have questions about real estate investing, owner financing, or any other aspects, don't hesitate to shoot us a message or make a comment on a video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on the other social platforms to stay updated on the ever-changing real estate market. Happy real estate investing!